So any of your peers who can't miss this, we'll put it on self-service. We'll have all the information there. I'll try to breeze through information that I think is in the guides, but I'll try to go over as much as I can. If you have questions, put it in the chat. Happy to help. And I'll get to your questions at the end, just to make everything go as smoothly as we can. I'm hoping to be out of here by 7:30, 7:45, if not sooner. But if you have questions, feel free to email me, tvalton, V as in Victor, ALTON. All right, let's get started, folks. Here we go. All right, so what we're going to be talking about today, housing selection timeline, giving you a brief overview of that. I'll go over some application stuff. We're going to really spend a lot of our time on how to actually do roommate matching and group formation, give you an overview. I'll talk about the difference between solos, pairs, and groups of 3 to 6. Group leader responsibilities. So, smash that like button. We don't have like buttons here, but smash it anyways. If you're going to be a group leader, feel free to put it in the chat. Shout out to all my group leaders out there. We'll talk about pairs, groups, and eligibility, roommate matching tutorial, and group formation tutorial. So I'll actually show you how to do it in self-service, so you have an idea of how to do it. And then obviously I'll leave questions, leave some time at the questions for Q&A about everything to do with housing operations. So if you have questions, I'm your go-to guy. So I know a lot of you are probably really stressed and anxious about this, and I want to normalize that process for you. Choosing where you can live with your friends can be exhausting. It can be stressful. It can cause a lot of drama. But I encourage you all to make sure you develop plan A, plan B, plan C, plan D, E, F. Have multiple options ready for selection. We're going to host a very similar webinar like this to actually pick rooms later. It'll probably be hosted sometime in early April. Don't be stressed out about this. Please don't. It's a very easy process as long as you all talk to each other. Please be honest with each other. If you don't want to live with someone, make sure you tell them that. There's nothing worse than coming to selection day to know that your group is no longer a group, and now you don't have any friends, right? That's really sad, especially for that student who is now going to go by themselves, who really thought that they were in a group. So be honest and open with each other. If you don't want to live with someone, you got to do what's best for you. Things you need to know is Durrell is here to support you and assist in any kind of question. We really strive ourselves to make sure that we have highest level of customer service. So give us a call, 401-254-3554. That's actually my direct extension. So thankfully, those 60 people here, you can write that down. You can call me anytime you want. Or you can give us an email, rwhousing@rw.edu is the best way to get in touch with us. If you click that link, which we will post this and we'll share this this PowerPoint video out, that link provides right to the returning student housing page. And all the information you need for housing is actually right there, which is perfect. And then actually during the help desk, during the actual selection process, we're going to have a very much like a live tutorial. So people who were here last year with us, if you have any issues picking rooms, feel free to come and join us here. All right. Any questions so far? I think we're doing pretty good, right? Great. So just an overview of the timeline. A lot of you have already done steps 1, 2, and 3. Just a reminder for those who haven't, applications were extended and they're due on the 11th is the deposit deadline, and then the 12th is your application deadline. Please get that information in. If you don't meet those deadlines, you're not going to be able to participate in housing selection, and you'll be placed on the pending assignments list. I'm hoping that most of the 60 people here probably are good to go. We're going to be spending a lot of time on step 4 today. You have at least 20 days, so don't stress out about it. If you can't figure out your groups now, you have some time, you can search. Those need to be complete by March 29th. After that, you'll go through the housing selection process. So if you're a rising senior, you're going to be picking on the 19th of April. If you're rising juniors, the 21st and the 20th, a little backwards there. And rising sophomores, 22nd, 23rd. Don't be overwhelmed by this page. We're going to send you a lot more information over the next couple weeks. Tutorials, video tutorials, PowerPoints, you name it, we probably got it. There are a couple of pre-selection processes that we've already started. The continued occupancy. So for those who are interested in COing in their current unit, if you're a rising junior or rising senior and you have 33 credits or more, you're allowed to actually stay in your same space. I'd encourage you to do that if you like your space a lot. Those apps open today, so feel free to go in. SAS was already due on the 19th of February. We also have these other supplemental applications. Those are also due at the end of the week. So those are all of our living learning communities. That includes the Black and Latinx LLC, Honors LLC, Queer Trans LLC, and Substance Free. Please do that. I just wanted to give you a really brief overview of how the roommate process works. So everybody needs to complete a returning student housing application. And then there's a couple of different trees that you can do. You can either complete a living learning community. You can fill out SAS. Those are actually not on self-service. That's why they're not highlighted that little light blue color. Or you can feel free to do the continued occupancy process. That CO process is actually going to be a half online, and it will also be in person. So more information for those people, and we'll probably send out a quick little video tutorial on that too. Gender inclusive housing. So this is where we're getting a lot of questions. A lot of times students have gone in there and they thought that they had to complete this application. Once you complete that application, you actually can't search for people who have not completed that. So the way that our roommate portal works is you're either going to be in this bucket here, or you'll be in these buckets accordingly. So if you can't find your roommate match and you know that they for sure are certain that they completed the housing app, reach out to us. We can fix it for you. It's not a big deal, but make sure in the future you don't click that app, okay? So again, all roommates must be paired and complete each application if they want to live together. So if you want to, if you have two friends of yours who want to live in the Black Latinx LLC, you both need to be able to complete that application in addition to here. But obviously the first step is pay your deposit and complete the apps. All right, great. So let's get to the nitty gritty. So why you all are here, right? We all sent you a nice, really good, a good guide yesterday, which was called the Roommate Matching and Group Formation Guide. I'd really encourage you to read it. I'm going to give you some highlights. There's a lot more information in there, and I know it might be a little overwhelming, but all you need to do is to ensure that you simply just read the guide and get through there. I do see some questions in the chat. Feel free to keep putting it in there. Once we have some downtime at the end, I'll definitely address those, but I'll talk a little bit now. So someone had said, someone in my group is applying for continued occupancy. If they aren't the leader, what room should my group choose for next year in housing? So that's just one question. Just think about that. And if I'm COing and most of my friends are not, what should we do? And I'll talk a little bit about that process in a little bit. The CO process is a little different. So what you would do is complete a CO agreement, just saying you're interested in continued occupancy. Then there'll be a form that is actually sent to you, which all unit members of the current occupancy need to fill out. So if you were in a Bayside Quad, for example, and you lived with, Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy, and Roger Williams, Roger Williams decides that he wants to be able to stay in the unit. The other three don't. All you need to do is fill out that form and say, I'm not looking to pull these other three people in, but these other three people are looking to be pulled in. And again, let's not get too into the weeds with continued occupancy until the end. I'm happy to address concerns. Let's really focus on roommate matching and group formation today, and we'll send some information out about the CO process. So the person who wrote anonymously said, someone in my group is applying for continued occupancy. If they aren't the leader, what room should my group choose for next year for housing? So I think that's an individual circumstance. Feel free to reach out to us directly. We can definitely walk you through that. Don't want to bog down people who are just here to kind of learn a little bit more about the roommate selection process. But I'll be happy to stay after. I'll be here until 8:30, so happy to stay on with anybody. So the big thing you need to do is check your email frequently. We send a lot of deadlines out, and I know it's overwhelming, but there really is no excuse to make a deadline. If you miss a deadline, you might not be able to live with your friends, you might not be able to select your housing you want, and you might actually have to pay additional fees for missing certain deadlines. So stay on top of it. If you have questions, reach out to us. Simple as that. So let's talk a little bit about the 3 different ways that you can go through the housing selection process. You can either go through as a solo, which is just one person. So if you're looking to try to find a single room, that would be obviously going through that. Single rooms might not be available at your time slot, so you might have to choose an open space and an open double, but we will be opening up the process shortly after that to be able to facilitate room changes if we do have that ability. The next situation is a pair. So you can search for a roommate, you can accept roommate requests, and then you would participate housing selection as a pair. I'm literally going to show you how to do that today. Groups of 3 to 6. So in years past, we've done groups of 3 to 10. We found that the groups of 10, simply we don't have the space for those people. Although there are 10-person suites in North Campus, they're very limited, and we find that it's too hard to manage from a 10-person perspective. So the first thing you would do as a group of 3 to 6 is there needs to be some kind of group leader, which will send out all the requests and kind of keep track of everything. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do that today. And we're going to talk a little bit about the group leader's role and responsibility. After that, all group members must accept the group leader request. Group member requests and other members also have to do that. And then you would participate in housing selection as a group. So there's really those 3 ways of going about the housing selection process. You either go through yourself, hopefully get a single, or then assign yourself to an open bed and an open double. You go through as a pair, where you're looking to get a Bayside double, a North Campus double, an Almeda flat. And then you either go through as a group of 3 to 6. Our most common thing is probably groups of 4. There's a lot of Bayside quads out there. Almeda apartments are groups of 4, et cetera, et cetera. So let's talk a little bit about the group leader. So all of this text is inside the guide. I will give you a really brief overview right now. But the beauty of our system is that the group leader will actually maintain and kind of keep track of all the missing requests that people haven't done. So if you start sending requests out, and you're going to see it's going to show you exactly what the steps need to happen. And as long as your group members follow that, that's going to be great. So the first thing you need to do if you're the group leader is just send a request to each of your group members through the Housing Self-Service Portal. I will show you that right now. I would reach out to those group members to remind them, hey, you need to accept my request, and also send and accept requests to all of our other friend groups as part of our group. If the group leader does it properly, you'll be able to see, okay, Tim has not accepted Janice's roommate requests. You need to be able to do that. Stick on your friends. You know, usually we have a type A personality. I am more of a type B personality. So my wife is constantly telling me about deadlines. She would be the group leader in my group. I can guarantee you that. So just a reminder that you're going to need some kind of group leader for housing selection as well. You know, we highly encourage that group leader to maintain that same thing. You don't need to tell us if a group leader changes. You don't need to tell us who the group leader is. But during the housing selection process, one person actually assigns all of the students into beds. So if you want to get into a Bayside unit or an Almeda unit, they're going to go through their time during their time slot, and they're actually going to select their room themselves through that process. So if you have questions about that, you know, we're going to be releasing tutorial videos in the next few weeks from now about the selection process in general. So I wanted to give you a brief overview of what kind of eligibility that we have across campus. I'm not going to read all the eligibility down below. It's inside of our guide. But let's kind of give a brief overview. You know, the flats are 2-person apartments. We're not going to be offering any kind of supersizing this year due to COVID-19 restrictions. We want to make sure that, you know, we open healthily for the safety in the fall. And we just feel that it's a much better option for us and for students. In Almeda apartments, you're going to be looking at, if you're a group of 2, you can select a double in an open apartment. We do have a few Almeda triple apartments as well. And then that little circle with a dot means that as a group of 4, you can select an Almeda apartment, but you might not necessarily all be in the same bedroom. So obviously there are 2 bedrooms attached to each apartment. So 2 students would be in one double and 2 students would be in the other double. Bay Point, obviously, we're very familiar with Bay Point. It's a lot where it's very popular with our sophomore class. 2 people can only stay in there. Bayside, we have a lot of different options in Bayside. There's 2-person apartments. There are 3-person apartments in Bayside. Very limited with the 3-person apartments. Our most popular option across all of campus is our Bayside quads, which you're looking at 2 double rooms attached to a common area kitchen bathroom. We have the quints, so that would be 2 floors up. There's a single there, and then 2 doubles above there. We will have floor plans online, and you can take a look at that. And then we do have 6-person apartments in Bayside. Again, very limited. I think there's probably about 3 to 4 of those located in Driftwood. North Campus is a little bit interesting. Obviously, you know, we have doubles in North Campus, suite doubles, apartment doubles. There are triples available for North Campus as well. And then, of course, once you get to 4, 5, and 6, you're going to be placing people outside of their individual rooms. So you don't share a bedroom together, but you'll share a common area. We have North Campus suites, which are anywhere between 6 to 10 students. 4, 3, well, if you read the descriptions right there. And just be mindful too that, you know, during the selection process, you might not see an open single in there. That might be because a student who has been approved with SAS might have that, or someone might have CO'd that space as well. Then, you know, another popular options are Stonewall and Willow. We have Stonewall doubles and we have Willow doubles. Stonewall is very much a is genderized, so they share a common bathroom, so all males would live together, all females would live together. Willow is private use bathrooms. So I do see in the chat that people are trying to get a single, so that's a good question. I think I'll address that now. So if I try to get a single, and you don't get one, what happens next? Will I still be able to choose where I live? Of course, absolutely. So if there's no singles available during the time of your selection period, what will happen is you'll be asked to, assign yourself to an open double, and I'm going to show you actually how to go about that process in terms of finding someone who is good for a good match for that. But yeah, you won't be placed by us. We will actually do you all will do the placement still. So great question. And someone asked, what buildings have singles? Bayside has singles, North Campus has singles, Stonewall has single, and Willow has singles. So good questions there. If a group of 6 is unable to get a room altogether, is there a way to split up into 3 and 4 or 4 and 2 next to each other? Great question. Yes. So if you're a group of 6 and there's not if you can't find a North Campus suite that has 6 open beds in it, you can do all those combinations. You can split up to 2 groups of 3. You can do 3 groups of 2, a group of 4, a group of 2. The system will allow you to configure that, and we'll talk about that during the housing selection process. But again, let's focus on the roommate matching stuff. But awesome question, and we will definitely be addressing that. It's super easy. The group leader just basically assigns new situations. Another good question here is, if we're a group of 3 and I want to live in a single, but my other 2 people want to live in a double and say a Stonewall suite, would we be able to still go through the process as a group? Yes. So you'll have an option to be able to select a 2-person double, and then you would just simply assign one other person to a single. If we have a group of 10 ready for a Stonewall suite, is there a way to request that? Yeah, and it's very hard for us, so we're capping it out at 6. So even though there is a Stonewall max of 10 people per suite, we're not going to allow groups to start forming upwards of 10, simply due to the fact that just with the time slots and our experience last year, we weren't able to fulfill any of those 10-person requests. And actually, we're almost setting you up for success and kind of a little bit more of extra stress on selection day. So we really feel that capping it at 6 is a really good opportunity for you to also get what you'd like to. So great questions there. Okay. All right. So now we're going to get into the tutorial aspect. So I'd ask you kind of just follow along with me. It's very easy. Everything that you're going to see here is great. And I will be sending that over right now. All right, if someone could just put in the chat if they can see like YouTube music, I just want to make sure that that went over fine. I'm sure that it did go over okay. Yeah, it looks like we're sharing still good. All right, thanks, Dan. Jared, appreciate it. All right, so I'm just going to log in with one of our fake accounts over here. So this screen should look very familiar to you. So what I'm going to show you first is I'm going to show you if this was a roommate pair. This is our easiest thing to do. All you need to do is simply just search for them. So this is the Housing Self-Service Portal. All of you should be in there. It's exactly how you fill out your housing application. So under Additional Housing Processes, you're going to want to click that and then select Roommates. Now, it's very important is that basically you're trying to find a roommate, not for this term, but for fall 2021. And then that button down there is going to pop up. So as you see, it wasn't there before. Now it is. Oh, there we go. Now, let's say this person knows exactly who they want to live with. This is probably our most common roommate pairing. All you need to do is simply write in their last name here. So this person is looking for someone whose last name is Williams, first name Freeborn. They would scroll down and they click Begin Search. Now, I'm using like a tutorial portal here, so there's not going to be a lot of searches. But if you use a common name like Smith or Williams, you might see multiple requests. So you're going to scroll down, and underneath search results right here, you're going to see who that person is. So this is Freeborn Williams. That's the person I know who it is. You'll be able to see their email. So that's a good way to confirm that if there's 2 people with the same last name, that's that person. Just ask them what their email is going to be. And then all you need to do is click Request Roommate down here. Now, as Roger Williams, that's who I logged in. When you scroll back up here, you're going to see that this is highlighted yellow. What that means is that that's not a match yet. Something needs to happen. And when you look under unmatched roommates, you'll see Freeborn Williams has not requested or confirmed Roger Williams, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to log into Freeborn Williams' account. And we'll see what the other side is. So think of it like Facebook. You know, once someone sends out a request, if they are then accepting that request, you're then friends, and then you're matched. So now under Freeborn Williams, I'm going to come under additional housing processes. I'm going to do select roommates and select roommates. Again, fall 2021. And then you'll notice that under here, it says pending roommate requests 1. So people who are searching for roommates, they might send out a bunch of different requests to people, right? You might be seeing that there are 13 pending roommate requests. And when you open this up, you might see a bunch of different things here. You could do a couple things under the screen. You're going to want to click this option here. If you click view, you're not going to really see much here. This is just a default category. We haven't really built that out yet. But if students do fill out a profile, you're going to see that there. What I would recommend people doing is when you're under this here, you can come into here and then you can click email. And you could just simply say, you know, hi Roger, looking to learn more about the process and you as a roommate, here's my cell if you want to connect. And what this will do is that'll send an automatic email to their Roger Williams email account. It'll say, hey, you've received some kind of notification through the Housing Self-Service Portal. Feel free to reach out to them. This is the best way if you're looking for someone to contact them. If you know who you want to live with, and it's like, yep, I know exactly I want to live, like if, you know, I want to live with, I see Jamie Goldman's name there, right? I want to live with Jamie Goldman. All I need to do is simply click this button here. And then there's a match feature here that says match. If you don't want to live with them, you would click decline. But these two want to live together, so they're going to click match. And you're going to see here that your roommate group is fully matched. So what this means is that there's no other requests out there that the group leader's done, and that this pair is good to go. So let's do this. I'm going to show you all the group side first, and then we'll open it up for Q&A, and then I'll wrap up with some kind of other stuff. So if there's any questions about the actual pairing of students, which is pretty easy, let me know. So let's say, for instance, and ignore me as I kind of go through this process here, just so you can kind of see this. But let's say this pair, you know, they didn't have a, you know, I'm going to go through as a solo, but I want to be able to find someone to live with. You can actually search by attributes as well as last name. So once this loads up, I'm going to go back to housing additional processes here. I'm going to go to fall. I'm going to get rid of this so we can start fresh. And let's say I'm a person who, I don't want to live in a single, but I want to live with someone. What can I do, right? What you can do is, what I would recommend doing is to try to fill this out according to what's most important to you, right? So as an individual, this person, Freeborn Williams, really wants to be able to live with someone who approves of alcohol use, who might play 1 to 2 hours a day for gaming, and who likes their room warm, okay? You could do that and then click begin search. Now, in this portal here, there's not a lot of information and data, so it's going to come up as 0. But if I were to change one of these, like let's get rid of this and click begin search, I think something should pop up, or not. Yeah, let's get rid of this too. There we go. So what's really important is that if you're super specific on asking the system to find exactly what you want, you're probably not going to be able to find exactly who you want, right? So I would encourage you, think about what's important to you. For us, what's a good roommate is someone who, you know, is going to be having the same temperature room that you are in. So if you like it cool, search for someone who's cool. If you are interested in making sure that they're following overnight guest policy, you know, you're going to want to select overnight guest policies as, you know, often or sometimes, right? You can do a combination of that. Just don't be so limited where the fact that you know, you're not going to be able to find someone. We get that a lot in the housing in the Res Life office, is that, you know, I've put in all these attributes and I can't find anybody. Why can't I find anybody? It's because your search criteria is too narrow. Try to broaden up your search criteria so it's a little bit more. So if we were to get rid of this here, and we just did alcohol use, and then I click begin search, you're going to see all the people just in my little tiny system that they have. So then you can go through here and search, and you can see Donald Duck, right? You can see that they disapprove of alcohol use, that they are messy, that they like electronic, heavy metal, hip hop. And if that's something that's interested to you and you want to reach out to that student, click request roommate. So that's the best way to go about that if you're searching it from as a person who wants to live in a double but wants to find a new roommate. Now let's talk about the group formation. So the group formation is actually really easy inside here. We're going to log in with Mickey Mouse. So Mickey Mouse is now my new student, and what we're going to talk about is the group formation aspect. So this would be for people who have groups where, if you want to create a roommate group of 3, 4, 5, or 6. Remember, the first thing that we need to do is to identify the group leader. I have identified Mickey Mouse as the group leader. So Mickey Mouse is going to want to come into here, select roommates. Again, fall 2021, search for roommate. He knows the names of his roommates, right? So the first roommate that he wants to live with is Donald Duck. He's going to type in first and last name, and he's going to search. Great, this is Donald Duck. I can confirm with the email. This looks like him. I know that he is going to bed before midnight. I know he's a smoker, et cetera, et cetera. They're going to click request roommate. The next thing they're going to do is they're going to want to scroll up here. They're going to see here, unmatched roommates. Donald Duck has not requested or accepted Mickey Mouse, which is accurate because we haven't done that yet. He also wants to live with Goofy. Goofy's name is actually not Goofy. If people didn't know, I had to look that up. It's actually George Geef. So for our trivia folks out there, George Geef is actually Goofy's real name. So they're going to put in George Geef in here. They're going to begin search. And here is Goofy right here, George Geef, right? So wearing funny I should say hats. He's a dog. He can't really spell, so let's not knock it to him, right? And then someone who likes a good laugh, right? Extremely messy. This sounds like Goofy. So we are going to click request roommate. And remember, Mickey Mouse is the group leader. So when they come up to here, they're going to see all of this kind of to-do list here. As you noticed, it kind of grew exponentially. When the group leader starts going in and doing this, and I'll show you, we could do a group of 5. Well, we'll do a group of 4 as a quad, right? This person also wants to live with someone whose name is Williams. When you search Williams, you'll see that there's 2 people here. You know, there's that Freeborn Williams and Roger Williams. These 4 people want to live in Bayside, so we're going to click request roommate. And when we scroll up top, you'll see everything that needs to happen, okay? So what this means is that Roger Williams has not done X. They have not sent they have not approved the invite from Mickey Mouse. You know, Donald Duck has not done that. So let's kind of just walk through this, and I'll show you how easy it is, right? So the next thing that needs to happen is, let's pretend that we are Donald Duck, okay? Donald Duck is going to log in. The first thing that he's going to want to do is he's going to want to accept the pending request from Mickey Mouse. And he's going to click accept and match. This is not true, right? This is saying your roommate group is fully matched. Please, please do not go by that. If you're not the group leader, what that means is that you and Mickey Mouse are good, that you are matched, but your entire group is not matched. So again, what he needs to do is he needs to send out a request to Goofy, which is the request roommate feature here, and also Williams. And remember to always select the actual one that you want to do, which would be Roger Williams here, okay? And again, you'll see here, all right, now Donald Duck is kind of getting some used to some stuff, so all right, we're kind of getting there. They're going to see this because that's just how the system works. But again, a reminder, whoever that group leader is, open that up. Let's go back to Mickey Mouse and see how things have changed. We're going to want to go to additional housing processes, select this, here, back to here. It's going to tell you exactly what needs to happen still, okay? So let's log in with Roger Williams. So if we remember, Roger Williams has not requested Goofy, Roger Williams has not requested Donald Duck, and Roger Williams has not requested Mickey Mouse. So Roger Williams would log into Housing Self-Service Portal. Oof. And go through the entire process with him. So we would come into here, we'd see pending roommate requests. We simply just click match, and we click match here. For some reason, it's not going up there. Oh, it will when you guys do it. I promise, at least I hope. And then you type in George Geef here, you scroll down, and you would find him here, request roommate. So that's a match there, so that is now matched, that is now matched. And now we have to do the last bit, which is under Goofy. And when we log in with Goofy, we'll need to come up to here and again do the same exact thing. Takes about like, you know, the last person who does it actually can just click match for everybody. And I think it should probably fully match your group. Yeah, so whoever's last actually has it the easiest, to be honest with you, which is good because they're probably the one that missed the deadline to get it anyways. So when we log back in with Mickey Mouse, and sorry if I'm moving quickly, folks, just trying to get through this so we can answer some questions. We come into here, we go to fall 2020, we see roommate requests, and now we see your roommate group is fully matched. So again, the big thing that you need to know from us is as long as that group leader sends out all of those requests to your intended group, that group leader can kind of keep track of where all the requests are. It takes about 2 or 3 minutes. If you're all sitting around a computer just doing it yourself, you'll be able to do it too. All right, so let's get back to here. So we're back at the tutorial. So now what I want to do is I want to open it up for questions. I'm going to go through the chat. Feel free to put in there. Feel free to log off if you want. I'll stay on until 8 o'clock. If people are still here and want to talk, you know, one-on-one, happy to do that too. All right, so I'm just going to scroll up a little bit. And we're going to start from right after I had asked Dan and Jared came through. All right, so me and my 2 friends want to do a triple, and we have another group of 3 who want to do the same Almeda. How would we go about getting into the same suite? So me and 2 friends want to do a triple. We have another group of 3 to do that. So Almeda, remember, doesn't offer 6-person apartments. So the way that Almeda works is that the 3 of you could select Almeda, but you would be in 2 different 3-person apartments. So what I would recommend doing is just making sure you're telling your other group, hey, you know, I ended up on the 2nd floor of building 4. Make sure that you select the unit on the 2nd floor of building 4. And I can go back. Let's just pull up that eligibility chart because I think that's helpful too. So see, like what you're asking is like, you know, me and my 2 friends want to do a triple and we have another group of 3, right? Almeda doesn't have that 6 option. It has the 4 and it has the 3. So just be mindful of that, is that you just got to communicate with each other to be able to do that. If people in the group have different selection days, how does the group make sure they get the earliest selection date? Great question. So the way that our time slots are going to be allocated, it's based off of class year, and then it is absolutely 100% randomized through there. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that you're all seniors. We randomize your time slot, and it's a group of 4. The first time slot is going to be, like the system generates, would be a priority number of 1. Then the next person has a priority number of 4, the next person has a priority number of 18, and the next person has a priority number of like 25. What we do for groups is we take the average of your priority number, which would probably be like, I don't know, like 19, and then wherever your priority number lands in the time slot, that's where you would be. So if you're a senior and you want to pull in a junior or a sophomore, just be mindful of the fact that, yeah, you can do that, and you will be picking on your senior day, but you'll most likely be picking towards the end of senior day because you're pulling in a junior or a senior. Same thing with juniors and rising sophomores. If you're a group of 3 juniors and you bring in a sophomore, your time slot is going to be a little less than your peers because you're bringing in that sophomore. But as a group, whoever has the best overall priority number or lottery time, they would be able to pick for you. So that's a good question. How many people can each person request when choosing suite mates? So you can send out as many requests as you possibly can. The system will not allow you to match more than 5 roommates. So once you have confirmed your 5 roommates, so it's you plus other 5, you will not be able to accept any other roommate requests. So great question there, Jamie. Do we automatically get one of our top 3 choices, or is there a possibility that we don't get any of them? So actually, we don't ask for preferences for returning students. Returning students have the ability to select any open bed during the housing selection process. So different from first-year students where we said, hey, I want you to tell us cedar, maple, willow, and we're guaranteed to place you in one of those. We allow you the opportunity to be able to explore any single open bed on campus, and you can actually select any bed that is open and available to you during your time slot. So thanks, Kiara, looks like. Thank you. So, Fiona, I'm a rising sophomore. I want to live in Almeda apartments with 2 doubles, but I don't want to have roommates. Would I just get 3 random people? Yes and no. So, if you're going through solo and you want to live in Almeda and you don't really care who you live with, you can select an open bed and you're good to go, right? You know, I would encourage you to try to find a match first, because it's a lot easier just to put people who are matched together in a double. Like, you'll be able to fill that room. If you're going through by yourself, what ends up happening is you'll most likely be towards after group selection. We found last year that there was a glitch in the system where one person was taking over a Almeda apartment, so therefore quads wouldn't be, like groups of 4 wouldn't be able to select it. One of our biggest things that's going to happen this year is that groups are going to probably most likely select before people who are going to go by themselves, just so we can fill completely open units, and a group of 4 is actually guaranteed to get a group of 4 in Almeda. That being said, if you're a group of 3 and you put 2 people in one double and 1 person in another double, Fiona, that's a good example of a bed that would pop up to you that you would be able to select. So yeah, you would get just random 3 people, and I can say with pretty much certainty that that's a really good chance for you. If you're looking to live in, you know, the flats too, you know, that would be a good option too, is to just select the flat with one other person. So how do I go about having a single room through the self-service website? I've been talking a little bit about this. You know, as we mentioned a while ago, as a solo, you can do one of 3 things. You can either find a roommate to create a pair, or you can find roommates to be part of a group. So if you end up finding a group of roommates, or you simply just participate in the housing selection process by yourself. You know, I want to say there's not a good chance that as rising sophomores you'd be able to get a single. It really depends on how the cards all fall this year. You know, we do have a little bit less people interested in housing for next year, so there's a little bit better of an opportunity that there might be more singles. But at those who are juniors and those who are rising juniors and rising seniors who want solos, who want singles, are probably going to select before you. What we will, though, do is that if you really do want a single, you know, we encourage you to still get a double on campus. You know, you have to live on campus as a rising sophomore. And then throughout the summer, we'll work with people who are on a room change wait list on a rolling period. But you go, if you don't want to, if you want to go by yourself and take the chance of trying to find a single, you don't need to do any roommate matching things whatsoever. You simply just log in during your date and time that we'll provide you in early April. You look at rooms that are available. If there's a single, hop on it, assign yourself to that space. Hope that answered your question, Katie. Caitlin, so each person in the group, including the group leader, has to request and approve each other. When do you have have to do the roommate selection by? So Caitlin, good question. Overall question, yes. So each person has to be able to accept and approve, right? So that's why it's really important for that group leader to be able to send out all of that information out to people, because as you saw, it kind of would keep track of all the steps that would need to happen. Whoever's last in that list, like we just saw, would just simply click yes, yes, yes. But you're right. The simple thing is that each person has to be able to accept each other and request each other so that they're matched. And that process has to be complete, if you see by step 4, on March 29th. So please, please, please make sure you meet that deadline. Okay, there's a couple of private questions, so let me just read the question first and kind of see if we can bring it to the group. So yeah, so my friends and I want a triple and a double in Willow that are near each other. Would we have to request everyone as a group or just the people we're living with? So that's a great question. You can do a group of 5, but what's going to happen is the system is not going to allow you to select all of the different spaces. So what I would encourage you to do is follow this grid right here. So what you're asking is a triple and a double. I would create a group of 3. I would create a group of 2. And then just simply whoever has the first time slot, make sure that you're selecting a room that has a double next to it or a triple next to it. That way you can be able to coordinate that. You know, there's going to be some opportunity over the summer for us to be able to reach out to those groups. Like if, say, for instance, you selected a triple in Willow 12 and your friends that ended up in Willow 11. You know, we might be able to work with the students if, like, you know, you don't really care where you live as long as you're a double, like we could probably make a swap happen, right? I would say let's cross that bridge when we get to it. And if we have the ability to be able to facilitate those room changes throughout the summer, we'll be able to do that. But to answer your question directly, I would do a group of 2 and a group of 3, and then select very close to each other, and then just keep everybody in the loop of what your assignment is. Anthony, I think I answered that. So as a group, everyone needs to request each other. That's correct. You will request and accept each other. Again, make sure the group leader starts that process so you can keep that. Yeah, Simone, I'd be happy to do so. So the Gender Inclusive Housing app, those are for students who are looking to live with someone or a group of students who we basically ignore the gender binary. So this would be if you have a friend identify as a male, he, him, his pronouns, right? If I wanted to live with my best friend who is a girl who identifies as female, we would have to complete the Gender Inclusive Housing process. If you didn't want to do that, please make sure that you email us so we can remove that application, because right now you're only going to be able to search from people who are in the Gender Inclusive Housing pool. You won't be able to find students who are in the random, in like the returning student housing selection pool. We allow gender inclusive housing pretty much everywhere, as long as the room occupants all agree and all sign up for that. Yeah, and Simone, you wouldn't necessarily have to fill it out if that's not something you're interested in. So this is super helpful for you know, people like myself who had a lot of people who identify as females as friends who want to be able to live together, and then also people who don't identify in the gender binary. It's something that we offer for our students to be supportive of that process as well. Katie, there's not going to be any single rooms at Bay Point. You know, you might be by yourself for a little while and then we will end up placing you there, but you should always operate on the assumption that any open bed is going to be filled. Bay Points are pretty much almost all doubles. Bay Point's great. You know, Bay Point gets a bad rap because it's over the bridge, but the dining services team there is incredible. You've got a gym right there. You've got a great lighthouse lounge, full bed, so you're not in a twin mattress, and you got your own private bathroom. I love it over there. I'm over there all the time. I would highly encourage you all not to be upset if you get over there. I know going over the shuttle sucks sometimes, but especially in this new digital world where, you know, we can kind of meet and kind of take classes digitally, I'd encourage you all to look into Bay Point. AC, full dining services, full gym, awesome pool table lounge, awesome hangout area. I love it over there. If I was a sophomore, I'd probably either live there or in the flats with one of my good friends, to be perfectly honest. Yeah, so Caitlin, you know, the time slot process is going to be sent to you all in a much very similar process that this is. I would encourage you all not to get overwhelmed with the time slot process. Basically what that is a process for us all to be able to just give you a date and time that the housing selection portal is open for you. We're going to provide a lot more information on that, but again, let's get through these next couple weeks to get through that. It is received by email, so you'll get an email saying on April 20th at 11:23 a.m. the housing portal will open. Please feel free to select your rooms at this time. We do a lot of communication out for that, and the housing selection process is going to do a very similar webinar like this, and we'll have actually like videos that are up there that we used last year. So Caitlin, that's a great question. How does it work with a group? So again, I talked a little bit about that, Caitlin, where, you know, as a group, each individual member. So let me explain this too. Each individual member as a returning student housing selection is assigned a priority number with an attached time. What ends up happening, that's all randomized depending on your class. What we do as a group then is that we average your time and your priority number to give a new group time. That group time is averaged between all of you, so it makes it really even, makes it really clean. And then you choose and you get to assign anything that you want. So whatever room is available to you during that time, if you want to be able to assign your rooms to 2 doubles in Bayside, 2 doubles in North Campus, you'll have the ability to do Ryan, good question. Probably repeated, but can a roommate pair and 2 single groups for a suite? But can a roommate pair and 2 singles group for a suite? Yeah. So if like I think this is a group of 4, Ryan. I think that's what I'm hearing. Is it might be a group of 2 who want to live in 2 doubles and then 2 people in a single. Yeah, you can still assign people in a group to a single as part of a suite because it fills that room. We would encourage you to save that for if you're thinking about going in as a solo and you want a single, I would encourage you to go in as a solo with the backup plan of knowing where your friends are at, so you can kind of pick a room there. How are time slots chosen? What determines which sophomore date I get? Mary Rose, good question. I kind of talked a little bit about that, and we'll send some more information about that, but it's all randomized based off of class years. So Chris, good question. Do sophomores have a decent chance of getting a double at Bayside? I guess it depends on your evaluation of decent. Bayside, to be transparent, is our most popular housing option for juniors and seniors. At the end of juniors and seniors, if there's rooms available and you're lucky enough to be towards the top of the list and you can pick it, then yes. I would say for sophomores, you should probably plan to be at Bay Point, Almeda, and North Campus, in a combination of North Campus, Stonewall Willow. We tend to find that Bay Point is where a lot of the students end up going. Almeda is very, very popular for sophomore students because they want that apartment style living. I wouldn't get your hopes set on Bayside. I'll just be honest with you. Those rooms are very popular with juniors and seniors, and that's just been the luck of the draw for that. Is Bay Point only reserved for COVID quarantine, or will it be available for housing for the fall? Great question, Jaden. Right now, actually, Bay Point is a combination of that. So the first floor is Q&I, so that's quarantine and isolation for students who are close contacts and those who have unfortunately been inflicted with COVID-19. And then the second floor is all regular students. We do anticipate, especially if a lot of the college-age students get vaccinated and the state lists a lot of restrictions, that we're going to only be able to utilize the back wing of Bay Point. But right now, we're planning to keep that model still in place. So second floor will be students, and then third floor will be quarantine isolation. We'll provide updates on that closer to housing selection as we get more information from the state of Rhode Island and from the CDC. But yes, Jaden, no, I guess is the question to you is Bay Point only reserved for COVID quarantine, or will it be available for housing in the fall? It will be available for housing for the fall because it's available right now for students for the fall, just on the second floor. So Emily, yeah, someone had messaged me privately and said, can we put Bayside as backup if I am a rising sophomore? Remember, you're not telling us where you want to live. You don't get placed as rising sophomores. So much different from first year students, you don't get a placement. You actually select your room. So yeah, like you'll have an opportunity to apply and put yourself on like a room change wait list at the end of the process. And if we process it and that there's rooms available and you're next in line for the queue to receive an offer, then we'd happy to facilitate that over the summer. But I'm being honest and transparent with you. The Bayside options are usually juniors and seniors, and once people get them, they tend not to be able to leave them because they want them that much. All right, so we are at 7:51. I'm happy to stay on until 8 o'clock. If people want to talk with me offline, we can kind of do like a little break room action, or you can just put your name in the chat and I can stay on and we can kind of talk later. What I will be doing is I'll take this I'm going to take the chat now actually, and I'm going to save the chat. So I have it, and then we'll follow up and make sure that your questions are included in our guides. I want to thank you all for coming today. I know that it's a little late for me to be here at this time. But I definitely appreciate getting the chance to talk with you all. The biggest thing you need to do is reach out to us. If you're having questions about any of these processes, email us, email housing, call us. You're never not supported. So Caitlin, is it hard to get North Campus as a rising sophomore? It's probably easier because there are North Campus suites. They're not necessarily apartments. I don't want to give false hope to people, right? Because North Campus is a popular option for students. It really just depends on what's available out there. In the past, we've seen that, Bayside fills up rather quickly, followed by North Campus apartments, followed by North Campus suites. And yes, if if you can shoot me, if you want to talk privately, I'm happy to do that too. If you can just stay on, as soon as 8 o'clock rolls around. So if anyone messaged me, if you can just hang on for me real quick. What I'm going to do real quick actually is stop recording.